As you come out of your hazy vision, you see that path slowly forming in front of you. As you walk along it, it seems to be twisting and turning, leading you in whatever direction it feels like at the time. You have a basket in your arm, which was once filled with flowers, now having loud slushing noises each time you take a step. It'll make a nice meal later. As you continue walking, you realize it's a lot colder than what you thought it was. You see snow slowly settling upon the ground, though none seems to be on the path you follow. As you continue walking, you find yourself on top of a rather large mound looking down at the scene. I'm going to have you give me a perception check at this point.
Okay.
Also, Session 0, this is going to be a lot more railroady than the actual session is going to be, so...
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I have to, get used to clicking things as well. Perception.
Yep. Alright. So, as you look down, you see various caves that lead off in, from one way or another. The path kind of abruptly ends where you stand, but you still feel the lantern slowly tugging towards one of them. You begin to make your way, and it's a bit of an issue with the slippery slopes, but your elven nature allows you to calmly just walk upon the snow as if it was solid ground. As you enter the cave, it goes down to what would be dark for pretty much every other person, but your elven eyes allow you to see clearly. It goes down about 100 feet, and then you see the faint outline of stairs. Despite everything around towards the end being grey, your lantern illuminates the area around you, allowing you to see the mixture of ice and carved stone that makes up this cave. It does very much seem to be carved stone. It doesn't seem to be naturally formed.
Okay.
So you continue down into the cave?
Yes.
Alright. As you make your way, step after step, you don't see the bottom of this. You walk down for 10 minutes? 20 minutes? An hour later. There are a few platforms here and there that you occasionally stop for a quick breath, and the lantern again begins tugging you. You finally reach down to the bottom, and even though it was mostly dark for just a moment ago, a strange beam of sunlight seems to hit the area, despite how deep it is, and suddenly illuminates this apparently rather large cavern. You see what looks to be a icy mixture of ice and stone carved stairs, railways, statues, and a large sprawling city out before you. There doesn't seem to be anyone present. The pathway that you're currently on is almost like a bridge. You look down off one side, drops down around 200 feet before it hits the buildings down below. Looking ahead, there are two statues that seem to be of titans on either side, kneeling down, almost as if welcoming those who enter. And then, between those, the two long female statues with their hands clasped, silently judging you. And further past them, maybe 100 feet back, you see a strange stone pillar that comes up about waist high. As you notice it, the lantern does a joke in that direction. Do you want to explore around, or do you want to go straight to the pillar?
Is this a temple of a god?
Give me a religion check. Looking around, it does seem to have some religious symbols. It is of... I have to look at my very long list of deities. 1 second. I have to type this out before I say it.
It's okay. I'm gonna turn on push to talk when we're in the actual game.
Alright. You know this to be... It has symbols of Trifest. It is a god of the plane of sorrow. Oh, more of a... Yeah, it's 2 O's. It's more of a deity of the plane of sorrow. They have a heavy association with ice and stone, with these kind of structures like this. Give me a history check with advantage. This particular city you don't recall, but you do very much know that Trifest is the one that is, well, as your gaze brings you upwards, you would see over here a large winged structure, a statue that's slowly floating above a spire. It slowly turns back and forth. Its head seems to be detached from the rest of it, just floating above. And its eyes seem to have a very intricate amount of detail. It's almost as if whenever its head turns towards you, it's staring into the very depths of your soul. A deep sadness grips you for just a moment each time its gaze passes over you.
I walk cautiously up to the pillar.
Right. As you begin walking up towards it, it seems out of place with this very fine carved area. Almost as if maybe it was something that was added in later, but its style almost looks like it might have been something that this place could have been built around. You're not entirely sure. The lantern does a sharp tug as you approach within about 50 feet of it. And at this point you see a small handprint that rests above it.
I don't have investigation anymore.
You can still roll it even if you're not proficient.
Alright, I go to investigate it.
Alright. Looking it over, it seems... You see a few carvings on the side of it. It doesn't seem to... Actually, give me an Arcana check as well. Those strange carvings on the side of it, you don't think... You think that it might just be decorative? It doesn't really seem to have much of a purpose. The handprint itself is on a flat, smooth surface that... The print itself is just a very slight indent, maybe about a half an inch deep. Its size is... Well, it looked a little small from standing back as far as you were. It seems a little bit bigger than your hand.
Well, I guess I'll touch it. There's nothing else in here.
There are buildings off on either end if you would like to check those out, but... do you just touch your hand along the side, or touch the handprint?
Touch the handprint.
Alright. As you place your hand upon it, you feel a instinctual need to jerk away, but your hand just doesn't move away. Slowly, a small spiraling glyph appears on the back of your hand, glowing a very faint blue. You feel yourself slowly drifting away, almost into the wind. The very faint wind that blows through this cavern. You feel a deep coldness as everything fades to blackness. As you awaken, you look up and you see several monstrous forms standing beside you. The first one seems to be of a small leech. It stands about 3 foot tall, and the rear end of its body is almost acting as a support for the rest of it. Next you see what seems to be a thing made out of wood. It has 2 glowing red eyes and a small suction cup for its face. It seems like if it might have been Fae if you didn't know what Fae looked like. It is vaguely in humanoid shape, and you can see the small carvings that cover its body, with faint hints of magic slowly trickling through it. Next to that, you see a rather large person with it's humanoid, with very large eyes about a foot in diameter each. A beak comes out, very long. Almost, if it leaned in closer, you'd feel like it would stab through your very being. 4 wings rise from its back and slowly flap. A dark gown slowly closes down and just flows. Besides them is what seems to be a small little creature, no more than 6 foot in height. It reminds you very much of a pixie with its butterfly-like wings and elven face. However, as it smiles down at you, you see several rows of teeth. Very sharp. It almost feels like a shark's mouth whenever it smiles. And then you see what looks to be a human, if they might have had a magical mishap in the past. It seems to be some form of mixture between life and undeath that isn't quite a lich, but it's almost like different parts of their bodies rotting away. On top of that, it seems like completely misproportioned. One eye is about twice the size as another. A hand has a few fingers that just elongates much longer. And just misproportioned in almost every possible way. As it slowly moves, you see a heavy limp in its gait. Besides them is... I know this is a lot, I'm sorry. Almost there. Besides them is a fish. It's just standing there on its fins. It's about 6 foot tall. One giant eye that you can see slowly blinking and then opening. As its mouth opens, bubbles slowly form out. And then you've seen tieflings in your past, and you know what they look like. This tiefling, however, its horns go much further out, almost 3 foot tall. Its skin is light blue, and there's crackles of energy that continuously runs throughout its body. There's a chaotic nature about it. Not unlike yourself, actually. It's kind of power feels like that if it collided with something more stable, then you'd feel like an unimaginable power would be released. It's not so much of a look that this creature has, it's more of just a sheer presence. And much like the other bird-like creature, you see another long-beaked one. Its eyes, however, this time are normal sized. The feathers on it each end in tiny little scales. As it looks down at you, you feel small. Almost as if it wanted to, it could eat you like a worm, even though it stood about your size. 6 jet black wings come from its back and slowly flap in sync with the other birds. As you look around, there's a dark, damp stone corridor that you're in. And that's where we'll pick off.
Okay.